These are all adoptions, huh?
Okay, we're
Yes,
live.
sir. 10 seconds.
Pablo, stop swearing, okay?
Oh, my God.
Before we do a court to order, after you do a court to order, I'm going to just explain that our Zoom is down and we're going audio.
Okay.
Don't keep your mask on your chin. Oh, that's right, don't matter. They can't see it. Well, now I hope they can. They hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Fantastic. I say one thing and they hear me.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, Mayor, after I take roll call, you want to make some sort of announcement?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to do the flag salute?
Okay, yeah, we'll do all that and then.
Yeah.
Anytime you're ready.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay, the mayor's called the meeting to order. On the roll call, Councilmember Joseph Delaney.
Here.
Councilmember Maslag.
Here.
Councilmember Herrera. Councilmember Aaron Delaney. Mayor Rigoloso.
I'm here.
We have 3 ayes and 2 absent, which means a quorum is present.
Okay, before we go on, Deputy Mayor Delaney and Councilman Maslag, they fell ill and they're not,
Herrera. Councilman Herrera.
Oh, yeah, Councilman Herrera. Maslag is right here. You said here, right? Okay. They won't be here today, so we hope for them for a speedy recovery. Our Zoom is down. Our video is down for Zoom, but our audio is up and running. So we apologize for any inconvenience to anybody that is watching. But unfortunately, the Zoom universe, we were told, went down, but our audio is up, so we are good to run our meeting.
Okay, this meeting is being held in accordance with provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act and under guidelines set forth by the New Jersey Division of Local Government Services in an email dated March 12, 2020, and in accordance with Executive Order 104 issued by Governor Phil Murphy, and in accordance with Local Finance Notice number 2020-21 issued September 24, 2020 for remote public meetings held during a declared emergency. Adequate notice has been provided by mail, fax, and email to the official city newspapers and to other interested parties, and by posting the meeting notice on the bulletin boards in City Hall and front and back doors of City Hall and on the city website. Special public notice was published in the February 20th, 2021 editions of the Bergen Record and Herald News newspapers, advising of this meeting being held remotely, and the public was also directed to the city website for guidance in order to listen and watch and participate. At this time, if everyone would please rise, we'd like to begin with the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
America, please remain standing. On January the 27th, 2021, Connie Casca Giacomaro passed away, and she was a Garfield City Council member from 2000 to 2004. So we'd like to call for a moment of silent reflection in her honor to reflect on her dedication and devoted to the people of Garfield. Amen.
Yeah. Before we sit down, I'd just like to have a moment of silence. Michael Briggs, he passed away recently as well. He was on the planning board about 5 years ago. He served his time, he dedicated his time and volunteered his time to the city of Garfield. He was a young man. He had a lot moving ahead of him. It's always tough when any resident in the city of Garfield passes away, either through COVID or natural causes or accidents. Michael passed away at a young age, had a lot to give. We also, and this one is a little tougher, Monica Brezek. She was a 13-year-old girl that passed away in the city of Garfield. And it's hard when any young resident passes away. So we could just have a moment of silence for their families and for them to rest in peace. Thank you. Sure.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, I have to make this announcement pursuant to mandates by the state. All participants are muted during this meeting. Members wishing to make a comment during the remote meeting will be permitted to do so using the audio technology under which the remote meeting is being held. Members of the public may submit written comments to the mayor and city council through the city clerk by either email to apavlik@garfieldnj.org or written letter to City Clerk Andrew J. Pavlik at City Hall, 111 Atwater Lane, Garfield, New Jersey, 07026. Written comments must be received by 12 noon of the day of the remote meeting to be included in the meeting. Public comments will be read aloud, along with the person's name and address during times designated during the meeting for public participation. The mayor and council reserve the right to pass over duplicative written comments. However, each duplicative comment shall be noted for the record with content summarized. A member of the public wishing to speak during a remote meeting shall state their name and address for the record prior to making their comments and will be limited to 3 minutes. Members of the public commenting during a remote meeting shall not act in any manner to disrupt the meeting. If such a member of the public becomes disruptive during the meeting, the individual chairing the meeting shall mute or direct the muting of the disruptive member and warn that any continued disruption may result in the member being prevented from speaking during the meeting or be removed from the remote meeting. Disruptive conduct include, but is not limited to, sustained inappropriate behavior such as shouting, interruption, and the use of profanity. Any member who continues to be disruptive after receiving a warning may be muted while other members of the public are allowed to proceed with their comments. If time permits, the disruptive individual shall be allowed to speak after all other members of the public are provided an opportunity to comment. Should the individual remain disruptive, the individual may be muted or kept on mute for the remainder of the remote meeting or removed from the meeting.
All right, thank you, Drew. Okay, so for the coronavirus update, today, we have 23 residents who have tested positive for the COVID-19 virus. For the month of February, we have 309 residents who have tested positive for the COVID-19 virus. Garfield to year to date, Garfield has 3,058 residents who have tested positive for the COVID and 89 deaths. Let's please keep their families in our thoughts and prayers. With that being said, we have over 28 million U.S. residents who have tested positive and over 500,000 residents in the United States that have passed away. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. We do have vaccines, not as many as we like. With that, the city of Garfield had 100. We thought we were getting vaccines on a regular basis because we were designated as a city to give out vaccines. We only got 100. Bergen County gets 2,000 vaccines a week. That's it, just 2,000 vaccines a week. It was determined that it was Garfield and about 5 other municipalities that were getting 100, were supposedly getting 100 a week, but Bergen County decided to take our 100 and move everything to New Bridges. Unfortunately, we will not be getting any more vaccines. Everybody will be going to New Bridges. You know, you heard the stories about the CVS and the Rite Aids and the hospitals. They do still have vaccines. So if you are a resident in Garfield, please do not wait for Garfield to get the vaccines. So the public understands how we distributed out the vaccines when we first got the 100, was that we distributed out the vaccines to our senior citizens in the housing authority, in the housing buildings. We had a high rate of COVID-19 positive cases. Those are independent. Those residents who live in those housings, that's independent living. And since there were high cases of COVID-19, we decided to give them the first 100. After that, we were going to open it up to all residents in the city of Garfield on appointments only. Unfortunately, we only got that 100, thinking we were going to get 100 every week. That's what we were promised, and that didn't come through. Our city manager, Thomas Dutch, we have applied to the state for them to reconsider We haven't heard anything. Our city manager wrote a letter to the county executive, to the governor. We still haven't heard anything. Chances are very slim. So again, if you are looking for a vaccination, and even though it says in the record that Garfield is a town that is giving out vaccines, and everybody's calling our health center and our city hall, we're not. We're not giving it out, unfortunately. If we were, we'd be doing it as we're speaking right now. So, I apologize for any inconvenience that may have led to any of the residents, but this is out of our control. This was the governor and the county executive's determination that they will take our 100 and move it to New Bridges and Paramus. So you can go over there and make your appointments, and it's stressful. It's stressful. I still haven't made, I've been trying to make my appointment. I know the deputy, not the deputy mayor, Councilman Delaney has been trying to make his appointments. It's tough to get online. I get it, but you got to keep trying. So with that said, that will be our coronavirus update. Drew.
We have.
With the report from the city manager. Mr. Dutch.
Under the report of the city manager, I gave a very comprehensive report at the council meeting 2 weeks ago. I will give an equally comprehensive report at the meeting which will follow on March 9th. I would point out that the mayor is correct. We did everything we needed to do to qualify to be a vaccination center here in the state of New Jersey. Unfortunately, at this point, we have not been able to get a commitment from any other level of government to supply vaccines to us. That's the county, that's the state. There was even a reach out to our federal representatives without success. We will continue to pursue that, but the mayor's advice is correct. My wife has been on the phone and the computer for days trying to log in, and every time she gets to the end of the process, she gets denied a vaccine, and she gets told, come on again, and it's a frustrating process. Everyone is going through it. Hopefully, the state will streamline the procedure as we go forward. Just so everybody understands the full impact of what the mayor is saying, 2,000 vaccines to Bergen County. There are 70 communities in Bergen County. Those 70 communities have a population of almost 900,000 people, and we're getting 2,000 vaccines a week. So it's a stretch to get it in Bergen County. So apply any place you can. That's why you read in the paper about people who are going to other counties that are more sparsely populated, and they're getting the vaccines there. It's inconvenient, yes, but it's safe. So, Mayor, that's all I have tonight. There are a number of resolutions on ordinances. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I ask your support for the agenda that's been placed before you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Resolutions, Drew.
Sure. Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council, resolutions number 51, 2, and including number 64 have the signature of all the council members present. So if there's no objection, I will take one roll call vote of those resolutions. On the roll call, Councilmember Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Councilmember Maslag.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera. Councilmember Aaron Delaney. Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 3 ayes, 2 absent. All those resolutions are adopted. We have a resolution authorizing the city manager to acquire property commonly known as 327 River Drive. It's signed by council members Rigoloso and Joseph Delaney.
Why don't you
Drew.
put that on?
Yeah,
Miss-
we're gonna put, that's number 65,
Put that on hold.
Yeah, we're gonna put that on hold, and
And
we're gonna have a special meeting for next Tuesday.
Is that the next one also and the one after? Or
No.
proceed with-
No.
Number 66 is not.
Okay, we have a resolution authorizing the city manager to purchase 213-225 River Drive, Garfield, New Jersey, for the sum of $350,000. The resolution is signed by council members Rigoloso and Joseph Delaney. On the roll call, Councilmember Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Councilmember Maslag.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera. Councilmember Aaron Delaney. Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 3 ayes, 2 absent.
Mr. Mayor, if I can, just very quickly. So the citizens that are listening, these properties, these 3 resolutions are properties that are needed for the phase 2 of the Riverwalk Park. So phase 2 is the extension of our Riverwalk to the riverfront between Passaic Street and Monroe Street. I reported at the work meeting that some of these properties are being funded in part by the Bergen County Open Space Trust, some are being funded in part by Green Acres, and some are being funded by the city. So I respectfully request your support of the resolutions. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Tom. Number 67, resolution.
Okay, well, that one we were told was being held, so number 68, to and including,
Wait, no, I'm sorry, Joe.
67.
67 is 263, you had 213 to 225 River Drive, we just voted yes on. We held resolution 65, if you look at it, are we looking at?
that's correct,
Okay.
and I was told by
And resolution
Councilmember Joseph Delaney, this one,
263?
267, excuse me, yes, 263 River Drive.
Marked it when I gave it to you.
Yes, we did.
No, you didn't.
Yes, it was the way you had turned it.
Oh. This is the one that you wanted to hold, not this one.
Yeah.
This one we're voting on.
That one we're
Okay.
voting, 260,
Okay.
so we were correct.
Okay, we have a resolution authorizing the city manager to purchase 263 River Drive, Garfield, New Jersey, for the sum of $450,000. The resolution is signed by Council Members Rigoloso and Joseph Delaney. On the roll call, Councilmember Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Councilmember Maslay.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera. Deputy Mayor Erin Delaney. Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
There are 3 ayes and 2 absent. Okay, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, resolutions number 68 to and including number 78 have signatures of all the council members present.
Can you say those numbers again, 68 to 78?
Yes, 68 to 78.
Thank you.
That's correct. So if there's no objection, I'll take one roll call vote on those resolutions. On the roll call, Councilmember Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Councilmember Maslay.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera. Deputy Mayor Erin Delaney. Mayor Rigoloso.
Before I vote aye, just so the public, because I don't know if they have the resolutions or not, these are things from returfing our fields to our park bench initiatives, road improvement plans, et cetera. So I vote aye. Sidewalk replacements, et cetera.
Okay, we have 3 ayes and 2 absent on those resolutions. Proceed with bills and claims.
Am I missing something here?
What?
51 through 64?
We
I
did
got
that
this.
earlier.
We did?
We did.
When did we do this? 51 through?
Very first,
We voted on it.
very first thing we voted on.
We voted.
And then we,
and approved.
Yeah. I'm missing something here then.
What are you missing there? Take your time.
Yeah, let me take my time here. Okay, I got it. I see it. All right, we're good.
proceed with bills and claims.
Yes,
Okay,
please.
resolved by the City Council of the City of Garfield that the following bills, number 2266 to 2268, covering Dog Trust Fund and Trust Other totaling $92,337.82, and the current fund reserve totaling $57,255.04, and current fund totaling $3,314,951.13, and water fund reserve totaling $47,044.83, and water fund totaling $30,684.20, and the general capital fund totaling $186,325.23, and water capital fund totaling $21,969.89, and trust other police overtime totaling $2,375.00 per attached computer list, be dated February the 19th, 2021, be ordered paid, and the proper officers are hereby authorized to issue checks for same, provided there are funds in the respective appropriations. Be it further resolved that the action of the mayor, city clerk, and city treasurer in issuing checks and payments on the ratification list, which includes 59 items prior to the meeting, be ratified. Bills and claims resolution is offered by all the council members present. On the roll call, Councilmember Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Councilmember Maslag.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera. Deputy Mayor Erin Delaney. Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 3 ayes, 2 absent. Bills and claims are approved. Proceed to ordinances?
Yes, ordinances.
Okay. The following entitled ordinance was introduced at a meeting held on January the 26th, 2021. It was duly published. Copies were posted on the bulletin boards in City Hall. Copies were made available to the general public, and having complied with the law, this ordinance was not read in full, and the City Council can now proceed with the public hearing and final passage. Bond ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements by and for the water utility of the City of Garfield in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $580,000 to pay the cost thereof, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
Okay, on this ordinance, and this ordinance only, is there anyone from the public that would like to call in and speak? They tell me they see no hands, so we'll move on. Joe?
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, 4 affirmative votes are required for the passage of a bond ordinance.
That's true.
Therefore, we need to table this ordinance until the next meeting. So I don't know if there's a motion by anybody to...
I make a motion.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Joseph Delaney, seconded by Councilmember Maslag to lay the ordinance on the table. On the roll call on the motion, Councilmember Joseph Delaney.
Since we had a public session, we don't have to repeat the public session, correct, Joe?
That is correct, sir.
Aye.
Councilmember Maslag.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera, Deputy Mayor Aaron Delaney, Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 3 ayes, 2 absent. The ordinance is tabled. The following entitled ordinance was introduced at a meeting held on January the 26th, 2021. It was duly published. Copies were posted on the bulletin boards in City Hall and the front and back doors of City Hall. Copies were made available to the general public, and having complied with the law, this ordinance was not read in full, and the City Council can now proceed to public hearing and final passage. An ordinance to amend Article 5, Chapter 80 of the City Code of the City of Garfield entitled Trap, Neuter, and Return Program.
On this ordinance and this ordinance only, would anybody like to speak? I'll wait for the tech people to let us know. Do you see any hands? I'll give it 30 seconds to a minute. Okay, thank you. Joe?
Okay, on second reading, final adoption, Councilmember Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Councilmember Maslag.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera, Deputy Mayor Aaron Delaney, Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 3 ayes, 2 absent. The ordinance is adopted. The following entitled ordinance was introduced at a meeting held on January the 26th, 2021. It was duly published. Copies were posted on the bulletin boards in City Hall and on the front and back doors of City Hall. Copies were made available to the general public, and having complied with the law, this ordinance was not read in full, and the City Council can now proceed with the public hearing and final passage.
On this ordinance and this ordinance...
Well, I have to read the title.
Oh.
Okay, an ordinance to amend Chapter 164 of the City Code of the City of Garfield entitled Garbage, Rubbish, and Refuse.
On this ordinance and this ordinance only. Anybody from the public like to be heard? Mrs. Raymond, on this ordinance, garbage and rubbish and refuse. Ms. Raymond, if you could hear us, you would have to unmute.
I did unmute. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, we're having trouble with this meeting. I just want to ask a question. The ordinance before this, was that the cat ordinance?
Yes, it was.
Oh, I have my hand up and nobody called on me.
Our tech people said that no one raised their hand.
No, I had my hand up, Rich.
You would have the opportunity at the end when we open up the council comment, residents and taxpayers
All right,
on that one.
okay.
You want to comment on the rubbish and refuse?
No, no.
Mayor,
Thank you.
Mayor,
Someone, who was that? Oh, Bob, yes.
Mayor Bob Ferraro, if Ms. Raymond intended to speak on the ordinance on second reading, I believe we should give her that opportunity.
Okay, the attorney. Ms. Raymond, are you still there?
I'm still here. You already voted. Does that make a difference? Well, it's not going to make a difference because you're not going to change your mind, but I have a couple questions I would like you to answer.
Sure.
All right. What is your plan to do for the ferals? I understand this ordinance is just to stop feeding the ferals. Is that correct?
We're going to answer all the questions at the end. We're just going to jot them down right now.
Okay. All right. Well, if that's correct, what is your plan to feed, as far as food for these feral cats?
Okay.
Where are they going to get food? We're in the middle of winter. And Mayor, I'd like to ask you a question. We have been in existence, GARF, the group that's worked with this so very hard since 2006. Why weren't we notified by either the city manager, the attorney, or by you, Mayor? I work with you. I mean, why weren't we at least notified that there was, a plan to do this? Because maybe we could have sat down and worked something out as opposed to just jumping into this. I would also like to know, in numbers, not many, not a few, not a lot, how many complaints you've received in numbers about the cats. And lastly, I have to say, in the middle of winter, this is really frowned upon by many, many people. We're in the middle of winter. These cats are used to being fed. If they're not fed by the people that have been feeding them, they're going to be in everybody's garbage. And I would also like to say, it's really unfair that the cats are constantly accused of pooping on people's property. Are you going to tell me that the raccoons, the possums, the skunks, the squirrels, what are they, potty trained in Garfield? I mean, let's be honest here. I've been called to some of these places and it was not cat poop. And just for your information and for the knowledge of the people listening, most of the times, in fact, 99.9% of the times, cats will cover their poop. They don't poop out in the open because they're afraid of predators. And my last question to you, in the middle of the winter, you don't see this as animal cruelty? Please, Mayor, at the end of the meeting, I would like an answer to these questions. Thank you.
Okay. We'll go back to the resolution of the garbage and rubbish.
Sure. Do we need a public hearing?
Yep. On the garbage, rubbish, and refuse. I don't see any hands. Drew?
Okay, on second reading, Councilmember Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Councilmember Maslay.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera, Deputy Mayor Aaron Delaney, Mayor Rigloso.
Aye.
3 ayes, 2 absent. The ordinance is adopted. The following entitled ordinance was introduced at a meeting held on January the 26th, 2021. It was duly published. Copies were posted on the front and back doors of City Hall. Copies were made available to the general public, and having complied with the law, this ordinance was not read in full. And the City Council can now proceed with the public hearing and final passage. An ordinance to amend Chapter 242 of the City Code of the City of Garfield, entitled Violations and Penalties Pertaining to Property Maintenance Code Violations.
On this ordinance only. Anybody like to speak? Mr. Raboli.
This has to do with property maintenance. It has to do with where you don't need to go to court to pay the fine.
All right, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Raboli.
Okay. My position on this, as you know from our prior meetings, so I'm going to not speak a lot on this. I'm just going to indicate.
Mr. Raboli, Charles?
Yeah.
This isn't the ordinance that you're thinking of. It's a different ordinance.
Okay. Is the one that I'm thinking of on the agenda later on?
Yes, it is.
All right, then I will withdraw. I'll lower my hand and I'll come back for that.
You got it. I'll let you know when we get to that.
Great. Thank you.
On this ordinance only? I see no hands. Drew?
Okay, on second reading, Councilmember Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Councilmember Maslach.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera. Deputy Mayor Aaron Delaney. Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 3 ayes, 2 absent. The ordinance is adopted. The following entitled ordinance was introduced at a meeting held on January the 26th, 2021. It was duly published. Copies were posted on the bulletin boards in City Hall and on the front and back doors of City Hall. Copies were made available to the general public, and having complied with the law, this ordinance was not read in full, and the City Council can now proceed with the public hearing and final passage. An ordinance to amend Chapter 201 of the City Code of the City of Garfield entitled Littering.
On this ordinance only, would anybody like to speak? I don't see any hands. Go ahead, Drew.
Okay, on second reading, Councilmember Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Councilmember Maslach.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera. Deputy Mayor Aaron Delaney. Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 3 ayes, 2 absent. The ordinance is adopted. The following entitled ordinance was introduced at a meeting held on January the 26th, 2021. It was duly published. Copies were posted on the bulletin boards in City Hall and the front and back doors of City Hall. Copies were made available to the general public, and having complied with the law, this ordinance was not read in full. The City Council can now proceed with the public hearing and final passage. An ordinance to add Article 9, Chapter 226 of the City Code of the City of Garfield entitled Snow Emergency Parking.
On this ordinance only. Someone like to speak, I think. Nobody? Okay, Drew?
Okay, on second reading, Councilmember Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Councilmember Maslach.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera. Deputy Mayor Aaron Delaney. Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
We have 3 ayes, 2 absent. The ordinance is adopted. The following entitled ordinance was introduced at a meeting held on January the 26th, 2021. It was duly published. Copies were posted on the bulletin boards in City Hall and the front and back doors of City Hall. Copies were made available to the general public, and having complied with the law, this ordinance was not read in full, and the City Council can now proceed with the public hearing and final passage. An ordinance to amend Chapter 280 of the City Code of the City of Garfield entitled Snow Removal.
On this ordinance only. I see no hands.
Okay, on second reading, Councilmember Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Councilmember Maslach.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera. Councilmember Aaron Delaney. Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 3 ayes, 2 absent. The ordinance is adopted. The following entitled ordinance was introduced at a meeting held on January 26, 2021. It was duly published. Copies were posted on the bulletin boards in City Hall and on the front and back doors of City Hall. Copies were made available to the general public, and having complied with the law, this ordinance was not read in full, and the City Council can now proceed with the public hearing and final passage. An ordinance to amend and revise Ordinance number 1268, the City Code of the City of Garfield, entitled An Ordinance to Regulate Traffic and Parking, more particularly the section designating stop sign intersections.
Just so everybody knows, this is just adding more stop signs in the city of Garfield at certain intersections.
It's four-way stop.
Four-way stop signs, thank you.
Drew, is it possible to add another, street to this ordinance now, or we have to?
You'd have to advertise and have a public hearing. We'd have to advertise for the public hearing.
So, no.
No.
No, the answer is no. You were correct.
Thanks.
Okay, for this ordinance and this ordinance only, I don't see any hands. Sure.
Okay, on second reading, Councilmember Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Councilmember Maslach.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera. Deputy Mayor Aaron Delaney. Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, 3 ayes, 2 absent. The ordinance is adopted.
Okay, Drew, the next two, is this the one on the parking garages? The ordinance to amend chapter, I'll read it for you. On adoption, introduction of 12621, an ordinance to amend the chapter 329 of the City Code of the City of Garfield entitled Vehicle Sales Business.
Yes.
Specifically 32912, entitled Parking Regulations.
I think
I know one of them, we're holding both of them. Okay. So do you want to open it up to the public?
We're gonna have to do that. But I'm gonna have to make my announcement again.
Oh, I thought I just did it for you. Oh, why are you glad? I don't wanna blow you, you know, I don't wanna.
Okay,
mess
the
up your
following
channel
entitled
here.
ordinance was introduced at a meeting held on January the 26th, 2021. It was duly published. Copies were posted on the bulletin boards in City Hall and the front and back doors of City Hall. Copies were made available to the general public, and having complied with the law, this ordinance was not read in full, and the City Council can now proceed with the public hearing and final passage. An ordinance to amend Chapter 329 of the City Code of the City of Garfield entitled Vehicle Sales Businesses, specifically Chapter 329-12 entitled Parking Regulations. So we're obligated to have a public hearing.
Okay. Mr. Roboli, this is the one you wanna raise your hand on, so this one and the next ordinance. I'll wait until you get onto the mic.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right,
Mr. Raboli, the audio record, could you just state your name and address?
Charles Raboli, Rabolli. The firm is Messinio Law. The address is 95 Chestnut Ridge Road in Montvale. On behalf of various repair shops throughout the city of Garfield. So the comments apply to both this ordinance and the following one. I'll speak one time only. I don't need to speak and say the same thing twice. I think I want to pick up on the comments of Tanya Raymond, where we had attempted to get together earlier. We did meet. I think we had made some progress in that meeting. I was hoping that in exchange for what had happened at that meeting, we would delay the passage of this ordinance. Clearly, you're plowing ahead with that. My letter previously submitted to council, I'm incorporating that by reference. Again, we feel that this is not good for these folks, that we outlined the reasons why in the correspondence, and I would suggest that you vote against it, or at least table it till there's an opportunity to try to work it out amicably. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Roboli, I think at this time, there has something. Oh, yeah, thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to speak on this ordinance? I'm sorry?
Anna.
Oh, Ms. Raymond. Ms. Raymond, you're on mute.
What was this ordinance again?
Vehicle sales businesses and repair shops.
No, I'm sorry, that wrong. I take my hand down.
Not a problem. Is there anybody else who would like to speak on this ordinance? Okay, Mr. Roboli, just so you know that we still have to talk. We're talking to our attorney. Obviously, your body shop owners are talking to you. We really haven't got a chance to discuss this as well, so we will table it for our next council meeting. This one as well as the next one, after Drew reads it.
Is there a motion and a second to table?
Seconded.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Joseph Delaney, seconded by Councilmember Mayslag to lay the ordinance on the table. On the roll call on the motion, Councilmember Joseph Delaney. Councilmember Mayslag. Councilmember Herrera. Deputy Mayor Aaron Delaney. Mayor Rigoloso.
To table them, yes, aye.
To table, okay. We have 3 ayes, 2 absent. This ordinance is tabled. The following entitled ordinance was introduced at a meeting held on January the 26th, 2021. Was duly published. Copies were posted on the bulletin boards in City Hall and the front and back doors of City Hall. Copies were made available to the general public, and having complied with the law, this ordinance was not read in full, and the City Council cannot proceed with the public hearing and final passage. An ordinance of the City of Garfield creating a new chapter, 214 of the Garfield City Code to be entitled Motor Vehicle Repair Shops. Before there's a motion to table, we would need to hold the public hearing.
Okay, we'll open it up. Would anybody like to speak on this ordinance and this ordinance only? I don't see any hands. Just like the first one, we're going to motion to table this.
Again, Drew, before we table it, we do not, once we, open it up, we don't have to open it up again for discussion, right?
You're correct, sir.
I just want to put that on record, that we do not have to open up again, public comments for this ordinance, I vote aye.
We need a
I
motion.
mean, I need a motion.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Motion to table?
Yes.
Pablo motion, Joe
Okay.
second.
Okay. So we have a motion by Councilmember Maslag, seconded by Councilmember Joseph Delaney, to lay the ordinance on the table. On the motion, Councilmember Joseph Delaney, Councilmember Maslag,
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera, Deputy Mayor Aaron Delaney, Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 3 ayes, 2 absent. The ordinance is tabled. The following entitled ordinance was introduced at a meeting held on January the 26th, 2021. It was duly published. Copies were posted on the bulletin board in City Hall and the front and back doors of City Hall. Copies were made available to the general public, and having complied with the law, this ordinance was not read in full, and the City Council can now proceed with the public hearing and final passage. An ordinance of the City of Garfield, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing the Code of the City, Chapter 287, entitled Streets and Sidewalks, more specifically adding Article 6, entitled Curb Repairs Performed by the City.
On this ordinance only. Anybody like to speak? I don't see any hands. Drew?
Okay, on second reading, Councilmember Joseph Delaney,
Aye.
Councilmember Maslag,
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera, Deputy Mayor Aaron Delaney, Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
You have 3 ayes, 2 absent. The ordinance is adopted. The following entitled ordinance was introduced at a meeting held on January the 26th, 2021. It was duly published. Copies were posted on the bulletin board of City Hall and front and back doors of City Hall. Copies were made available to the general public, and having complied with the law, this ordinance was not read in full, and the City Council can now proceed with the public hearing and final passage. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Garfield adopting amendments to the redevelopment plan for the Kalama site, block 50.01, lot 1, pursuant to NJSA 40A:12A-1 et sec.
On this ordinance would anybody like to speak? Drew?
Okay, on second reading, Councilmember Joseph Delaney,
Aye.
Councilmember Maslag,
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera, Deputy Mayor Aaron Delaney, Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 3 ayes, 2 absent. The ordinance is adopted. The following entitled ordinance was introduced at a meeting held on January the 26th, 2021. It was duly published. Copies were posted on the bulletin boards in City Hall and front and back doors of City Hall. Copies were made available to the general public, and having complied with the law, this ordinance was not read in full. The City Council can now proceed with the public hearing and final passage. An ordinance to amend Chapter 260 of the City Code of the City of Garfield entitled Sanitation to adopt provisions of the State Sanitary Code.
On this ordinance only. Drew?
Okay, on second reading, Councilmember Joseph Delaney,
Aye.
Councilmember Maslag,
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera, Deputy Mayor Aaron Delaney, Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 3 ayes, 2 absent. The ordinance is adopted. The following entitled ordinance was introduced at a meeting held on January the 26th, 2021. It was duly published. Copies were posted on the bulletin boards in City Hall and front and back doors of City Hall. Copies were made available to the general public, and having complied with the law, this ordinance was not read in full, and the City Council can now proceed with the public hearing and final adoption. An ordinance to amend and revise ordinance number Chapter 150 of the City Code of the City of Garfield entitled Food Handlers Mobile.
On this ordinance only. I don't see no hands. Sure.
Okay, on second reading, Councilmember Joseph Delaney,
Aye.
Councilmember Maslag,
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera, Deputy Mayor Aaron Delaney, Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 3 ayes, 2 absent. The ordinance is adopted. On introduction, we have bond ordinance to authorize the rehabilitation of Jewel Street Playground in, by, and for the City of Garfield in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $500,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds. This ordinance is introduced by council members Maslag, Delaney, and Rigoloso.
Drew,
Yes,
this is a bond ordinance and you need 4?
Only for adoption. On introduction, you could have 3.
Okay, thank you.
So on first reading, Councilmember Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Councilmember Maslag.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera. Deputy Mayor Aaron Delaney. Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, 3 ayes, 2 absent. The ordinance passes on introduction. And finally, on first reading, we have an ordinance to amend Chapter 333-14 of the City Code of the City of Garfield entitled Exclusive Right to Connect to City Water Main to add a connection for 2-inch water tap lines. This ordinance is introduced by council members Joseph Delaney and Rigoloso. On first reading, Councilmember Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Councilmember Maslag.
Aye.
Councilmember Herrera. Deputy Mayor Aaron Delaney. Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 3 ayes, 2 absent. The ordinance passes on introduction. And that concludes all written items for voting at this time. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council.
Okay, we're going to open up to citizens and taxpayers. Our guidelines still are intact. Each citizen taxpayer, please state your name and your address for the audio records. Everybody will have 3 minutes to speak. At that time, you will be cut off. Please keep your comments, well, you have 3 minutes. Please keep your comments brief. When the councilmen speak, they will have 5 minutes. At this time, any citizens or taxpayers who would like to speak? We'll wait a couple of minutes. Mrs. Raymond? Sure. Ms. Raymond? You have to go on audio, Ms. Raymond.
Okay, it's sometimes, this is a little bit slow. I don't know why this is so bad tonight, but this is worse than ever. Mayor, I feel like, I was a little slighted because when I questioned the ordinance, that ordinance had already passed. It passed through so fast. So again, I'm going to repeat the same questions because I really would like them answered. What do you plan to do to feed these ferals from here on in? If your ordinance states there's no more feeding of feral cats. I noticed the TNR is not included in that. It's just feeding. Where will these cats get food? They're used to going to a certain place and being fed by a certain person. They're going to be all over the city. They're going to be in everybody's garbage. They're going to be all over. And again, I have to agree with Mr. Raboli. I don't know all the particulars of what he spoke on because I had to run down to my dryer. But, this council really, before you do something, as far as the cat ordinance or this whatever this is with the cars, why don't you meet with the people that are involved as opposed to just jamming this stuff through? As residents, as taxpayers, we have a right to have input. And I especially feel slighted. I served this city for 8.5 years, and I served with some of you sitting on the council. And as far as the administrators, Mr. Dutch, Mr. Ferraro, why wasn't I given the courtesy of at least a phone call that this was on the horizon? I think that was really a slap in the face. A slap in the face to myself and a slap in the face to the Garth group who have worked diligently since 2006. These are all volunteers. When the county animal control officer came down and said to one of our members that her colony and her care of feral cats should be a model for the county, I mean, that was a compliment. And as far as the city, it's like we've done nothing about the last 4 years but have to argue with the city over this. We need to meet and have a plan. I want to know what your plan is. And I also want to know, do any of you feel this is animal abuse, not to feed these animals in this cold weather? A lot of people in town during this pandemic have just put their animals out. They've just let them go loose. we've tried our best to get as many adopted as we possibly can, and we did. In Lodi, they had a similar issue. They brought up about feeding the cats, and they worked with their animal rescue group. Actually, Tony Luna went with the head of the animal rescue to the people that were complaining, and they were able to come up with amicable solutions. We've never been given that opportunity. And again, I want to know in numbers, how many complaints did the city receive? And please, in the future, if you're going to do something, I would ask, at least give us the courtesy of a phone call, a meeting, or something. I have one other question. I understand that at the planning board, there was an application for 13 additional apartments to be put on Passaic Street. I want to know if that went through. And why was there 13 additional apartments? I mean, the 105 was enough, but now we got 118. That's quite a bit. All right, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody raise their hands? We're gonna wait another 20 more seconds before we open up to council comments. Okay, at this time, we're gonna open, any more hands before I open it up? Nope, okay. At this time, we're gonna open up the council comments. Councilman Delaney?
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
No problem.
All right, with regards to some of the ordinance that we, introduced, well, really introduced and passed and put on hold tonight, that's basically, what I like to speak about. I like to, I guess Ms. Raymond just spoke about, the feral cat issue and her organization of GARF, which I support many of their car washes, many of their fundraisers, and since their inception. But what I read on social media in the past few weeks from these members, I find very disturbing. It's statements such as the council should be euthanized instead of the cats. Now these are GARF members, who is an organization in the city of Garfield that has a sign up on one of our parks, and I'm appalled at this. I'm very, very displeased. They call in myself a word, starts with an ASS. On social media, they're calling council members devil. Now, I don't know what Ms. Raymond's talking about, but I tell you what, that organization that I read on social media has no place in the city as far as I'm concerned. Anybody who puts a statement on the social media saying that the city council should be murdered, and speaking with regards to the cats, I wake up, I go to work 5 o'clock in the morning, and every day I see cats in my neighborhood, in the freezing temperatures. You tell me, is that humane? Is that humane for a person to be feeding this cat, or whatever time of the day, and then they walk the streets all night in this freezing cold? That's not humane. It's something that, and then to say that we haven't addressed this situation, brought this situation up. We've been discussing this situation for the past 4 years. 4 years we've been talking about this. And every time that we try to do something for the quality of life issues, whether it be this or the auto repair shops, we always get pushed back. You know what? And it just goes on the back burner for years, and nothing happens. And because of elected officials in the past, that happened. But you know what? It's time that we do something instead of just talk. So that's what we're doing. We're doing something. and it's to make the quality of life in the city better. I have neighbors that complain. I get many complaints, and I'm sure that they could tell you that we brought it to Miss Raymond, and Miss Raymond's response to them was that it wasn't cat feces, it was squirrel, skunk, whatever. But, and everybody knew what it was. So please, I'm sick and tired of those excuses and the lies, and I'm really appalled by what the organization of Garf did. And I'm even looking to maybe bring down that sign at our park, Mayor. For one thing, an organization in Garfield should not have a sign on one of our city parks paid by taxpayer dollars that says that the council members should be murdered. So it's something to think about. I just find it appalling. Right now, I'm so disturbed with this group, with the social media posts that they, but not only about me. You want to call me an asshole, be my guest. With that, I'm done talking about that. Auto shops. Even though we did table this ordinance tonight, which is another subject we've been speaking about for over 3 years, and within the 3 years, we've been discussing the condition of these shops. They still look the same. We've been saying for 3 years how we say that they're don't respect their neighbors, work all hours of the night, make all kinds of noise, leaves their trash on, leaves vehicles parked in our parks that's supposed to be worked on with dented fenders, busted tires, nothing. They have done nothing. So again, we bring it up to try to fix the situation, and again, the same auto repair owners saying, well, why are we coming after them? And why do we open up conversation? Why haven't they cleaned their property in the past 3 years? Why haven't they done something? It's not until the city has to force their hand that they actually then go, okay, well, what could we do? What could we talk about? We've been speaking for 3 years, Mr. Raboli. 3 years we've been having this up, and they haven't done nothing. Remind that to your clients. This isn't just something that happened 3 weeks ago. It's been going on for 3 years. And the city of Garfield, the residents deserve better than this. So I'm saying this to the residents who live and complain about auto shops, auto repair shops, auto sales, about the time that they're working, all hours of the night, about them working in their cars on the street, and many other things that isn't right for the neighborhood. Well, we're not leaving this go. We are going to address it. I've listened to your complaints, and I've been elected by the people of Garfield to serve them. Snow emergency routes. Finally, I brought this up when I was mayor 10 years ago, and of course nothing happened until this year, which is good, but then again, 10 years is way too long. You know, we were putting up these signs at the last minute. I hope we haven't given nobody tickets, because it's not the right way to do it. We should have the regular metal signs put up in the springtime, so people could get accustomed to what we are thinking. It works in many other towns. Many other towns, they have snow emergency parking, alternate side parking, and people, it will help us out. People can't park nowhere in Garfield. With the snow, and believe me, I know, as everyone else in the city knows, in this state, that this snowstorm we've had, well, this month, these past few weeks, been horrendous. It's not the usual amount of snow that we get, but I believe if we had this program in place for a few years already, it would have helped out the city tremendously. But not to say we're not going to move forward with it. We are, and that's it. It's finally, it's finally happening, which is good. But then again, I hate when stuff takes too long like this. Mayor, I just got one more, since, geez, the meeting's only 20 after 7. My wife's going to be shocked if I go home this early, so I just got to keep rambling.
Well, you got 3 more minutes. One more
Come
minute.
on. The one more thing, we spoke about resurfacing Belmont Oval. we've had this in the works for a while because, we're getting new turf for a field that's, used quite a bit, whether it be Little League or, soccer. And, our new rec director and our city manager, I'd like to give them, kudos for coming up with this idea. Everybody knows that the, field down there is not a legal size soccer field. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna expand the field. So actually, it'll be the correct size. And, it'll take away the one walking path in the back. But, I believe that was a great idea that the, new rec director came up with, and our city manager. For it, I believe it's supposed to happen this July and August when that field is being used at the least amount of time. So the baseball will be able to use it for the Little League in the spring. But another thing that's moving forward, along with other items. But with that, I'm going over my time. I apologize. Everybody, do we have anything coming up, or what is it? Happy Valentine's Day. Oh, Tanner Raymond, Mayor, happy birthday. I know your birthday's on Valentine's Day.
St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, well, yeah, if I don't see anybody, speak to anybody before St. Patty's Day, I'd like to wish everybody St. Patty's Day. But we do have a work session, March 9th, so with that, thank you, Mayor.
Councilman Mazak.
Thank you so much, Mayor. So just to echo a few comments that were stated earlier. So in terms of the vaccine, as the mayor and also city manager mentioned, it's really important that for Garfield residents not to wait for the city of Garfield to receive vaccines. It's really important that you go out and try to find vaccines and appointments, which I do recognize and definitely do want to make sure that people do realize that we all understand that getting an appointment for a vaccine is very difficult for a lot of people across the country in Garfield and in different communities. So I think it's very important to recognize that. I'm very hopeful where in the coming weeks and months, vaccine availability will go up. But until then, it's really important that everyone does keep trying to get vaccinated. I myself was vaccinated through my work at Columbia Medical Center. So I'm very grateful for that. But it's really important that everyone does get vaccinated, that can get vaccinated, and do so in a timely manner so the pandemic will keep on moving forward. However, our rates are going down across the country and in Garfield, so it's important to really keep up social distancing, wearing masks, washing hands, all the safety protocols that we've been following for months now. And to echo comments by Councilman Delaney, really exciting news about the turf field. I know it's not a regulation side soccer field, but now because of the work of our rec director and also city manager, we're able to actually make it a regulation side soccer field, which is really great for our soccer players in Garfield. So that's really important, and also the park. So there is a bond ordinance that was proposed today. So with Jewel Street Park, it's really great that Garfield, I believe, is a really great place for kids, for families, because there are parks, and there's a lot of them, and we always work on them, so it's really important that we keep on going with that progress during this administration and all years moving forward. And I definitely want to make a quick comment regarding the issues that were brought up earlier about the feral cat colonies. I definitely do recognize that it's not an easy issue for anyone, and I definitely do want to recognize the fact that this has been an ongoing issue for quite some time. I myself remember articles popping up in my newsfeed regarding Garfield and cat colonies. Some of them were very patchy from other news media outlets, but this is an issue that's been going on for quite some time, and we're hoping to make progress in terms of really containing the feral cats in Garfield, because we have been getting an increased amount of complaints. I myself don't know how many complaints we have received, but I do know that it's been becoming greater in time as I've been approached since my time on council with numerous complaints about feral cats. And I myself know more colonies throughout the city of Garfield. So I definitely do want to give credit for our council for going toward quality of life issues in Garfield, which have been ongoing for not just this month or these past few weeks, but for years, and we're making progress in terms of those initiatives. And a really exciting initiative set forward by City Mayor Delaney about park benches. So if you are able to, please do donate and have a park bench dedicated in memory of someone that is a loved one of yours. And also our Riverwalk, very exciting news about our progress on the Riverwalk. Like I mentioned with the parks, we have made incredible strides in creating more green spaces for the city of Garfield. And with the Riverwalk, we will make that progress and extending it past where it is right now. So that's very exciting. And also, one last little comment about the library. I noticed that we have received a bond grant from the state for the library. So very exciting news about providing support for the library and proactive initiatives of applying for grants by the library. And that's really it for me tonight.
Thank you, Councilman. Okay, first, I'm gonna just stay on the topic of the vaccination. Yeah, the city of Garfield is really disappointed about only receiving 100. And again, like our city manager, Thomas Dutch, said, you know, with the county only getting 2,000 and us getting 100, it's going to be a long time before people get vaccinated. And, you know, there's something called the herd vaccination, where if things, even though you may get vaccinated, if everybody doesn't get vaccinated, there's going to be a new strain of this COVID-19 where you're vaccinated, they're saying your vaccination won't work. That's why it's important that, you know, all these drug manufacturers who are coming up with these vaccines, get them out to the people. Only 15% of all Americans have been vaccinated right now. And the studies are saying that it looks like it won't get until September, where if they could get all the Americans, but people are saying they don't want to get vaccinated. They're afraid of the vaccinations, or they have their reasons why not getting vaccinated. And this is why you'll never get rid of the COVID-19 until everybody gets vaccinated. That's how you beat something like the COVID-19. This is not something I'm just coming up with. This is something what is in the papers. This is what the medical experts are talking about. So it's important that our state and our country get these vaccines out to the public and get them out to the communities and get everybody vaccinated and let them know that it is safe to get out there. With that being said, I know there's a big issue on by the residents with snow removal. Our DPW is working hard to remove the snow. We had a big snowstorm. They're not going to get to every side street to remove your snow. If you have something there that's saving your spot, DPW is working in zones, and they will remove it and trash it. That is it. You cannot save your spot. Now, some streets still have that, where they got a chair, a cabinet, anything saving their spot. That's because DPW hasn't gotten there yet. They're working in zones. But I know what people are saying, that I shoveled this spot. You shoveled this spot 3 weeks ago. Enough. DPW, the city of Garfield, is not responsible for every drop of snow that falls on the streets. I know people can't shovel it out. Some people are older, some people are handicapped, but there are neighbors, there are friends. And if you do move, you may lose your spot. That is it. I know people get upset, but we gave everybody 9 days before we started to remove these things. Every municipality in New Jersey is going through the same thing we're going through. And every municipality in New Jersey is not responsible to remove all the snow, the throughways. That's what they're responsible for, plowing. And they are going around removing snow, working overtime. But they're not going to get through the whole city. They're not going to get through the whole city, unfortunately. I would love for them to get through the whole city, but they got their regular job to do during the day as well. So please, stop saving spots, stop stressing out, stop fighting with your neighbors. I don't know where everybody believes this. When I grew up, people you break bread with, you see every day. And now all of a sudden, you are arch enemies over a spot. Because you put your chair there that you shoveled out 2.5 weeks ago. And God forbid they move that chair to park their car in there. It has to stop. It has to stop. The snow's going to melt. The snow's already melting. So please, understand that they're, they're working hard. But, I see it. I see people, they're attacking me. They're attacking the residents. They're attacking everybody because they're so upset that DPW took their barbecue. Someone had their barbecue set out there, and they took it. Someone had a table, and they took it. To me, I think people are clearing out their garage, and they're throwing their junk out, and instead of putting the junk out, they're putting the junk in their spot, and they're waiting, they're clearing out space in their garage. That's just me, that's my opinion. But please, okay. Now that I went on that thing, let's go with the feral cats. Ms. Raymond, you know that we met last year. We met a few times. Councilwoman at that time, Deputy Mayor at this time, we had meetings with the county. People from Garf were here. We discussed this. We had the county come up with a plan for the feral cats. Nobody followed the plan. A year and a half in, no one followed this plan. When residents were complaining prior to the meetings, we met. Everybody came to the council meeting. Everybody came to the work session. The residents that were complaining and the Garf members. And correct me if I'm wrong, Councilman. You were there during these work sessions, and everybody came and they were complaining, and they were saying it wasn't cat feces, it was raccoon feces, snake feces, possum feces, skunk feces, every other feces in the world but the cat. But my neighbor has 15 cats that live next door to me, and yeah, I have yet to see a skunk walk past my lawn all year. If anything, certain members failed Garf. Certain people failed Garf. If you knew this was important, you would have followed, or they would have followed, the procedures that were put in place a year and a half ago. It is about quality of life. When you're supposed to have a colony of only 7 registered cats, and you got 15 registered cats, well, they're coming across my lawn. I have a right. I spend good money on this house. I'm spending good money on my landscape. I'm not a cat hater. I don't hate animals. But, yeah, this is what people are when they complain about the cats in Garfield or the feral cat colony in Garfield. That they hate cats, they're animal haters, and they get abused and bullied because someone doesn't want cat feces or their cats roaming through there, spraying or whatever they're doing in their yard. They deal with it, but they don't. We lost good residents. We have residents complaining. Their opinion doesn't count. And when we had the county that came in, when push came to shove, and we had the county came in, we came up with a plan. Deputy Mayor, Councilwoman at that time, she was vilified. She was taken through the coals. All she was trying to do was come up with a solution, a compromise among everybody. But after the county left, now one resident out of all the 40 colonies, I don't know if City Manager Dutch is still on, Mr. Dutch, but I think we have 40 colonies in Garfield. And I think out of the 40 colonies, and correct me if I'm wrong, out of the 40 colonies, only one of them followed the plan. And that's what they said. They brought experts in from Kearney, because that seems to be the oasis of where, cats could roam free. They brought experts in, how they explained how it run. I remember I was at the meetings, how these feral cat communities could work in a municipality, in a city like Garfield, if you follow the plan. And only one followed the plan. When you have have when you're registering for 7 and you got 15, you got 20, and the 7 are TNR'd, but the other 13 aren't, well, there's issues there. There are issues there, and it's a tough call. It's a tough call because I know these residents really love their cats, but if you can't take care of it and you can't take care of your neighborhood and you have your neighbors fighting, again, we're going back to the neighbors, fighting and arguing, then what are we doing? What are we doing? Maybe for some people, it's our lifeline to them, the city of Garfield's lifeline. Maybe they can't figure out how to get out of this. Maybe some of them don't want to get out of this. But it is a lifeline, and it needs, for the quality of life of the city of Garfield, that this is, we determined that this is not working. It's not working. They had a year. Now they have 6 months. You talked about what are they going to do in the winter? Is it humane? We're not doing anything in the winter. They have 6 months to figure it out. They could feed them. They could do whatever they need to do. But within 6 months, those 40 residents will have colonies. They need to figure out how to do it. We have the county again coming down at our next work session. When is our next work session, Drew?
March 8th.
March 9th?
9th.
March 9th, thank you. We have the county coming up there, and we're going to talk to the county to figure out a way to humanely get these cats, the ones that aren't TNR'd, released somewhere else. All right, I mean, it has to start somewhere, and the county will, and we'll listen to the county, and hopefully we'll come up with an idea of how we're going to do this. It's tough. It is tough. No one wants to do this, but at the end of the day, it is about the quality of life in the city of Garfield. But you know what's going to happen is that after this meeting, I'm going to go into my little Google, that little 8-ball there, shake it up, and I'm just going to say, everything, we're no good, we're this, we're that. We hate animals. We hate everything in the world. That's what's going to happen on Facebook. And then some of these other people from the other parts of the state of New Jersey are going to jump on. They're going to come down here. And how would you like to be neutered? How would we like to be this? And how would we like to be that? Fantastic. But at the end of the day, feral cat colonies are not working in the city of Garfield. And do not look at me or the rest of the council. We did not fail the feral cat colonies. You failed them. Follow the procedures, follow the guidelines, and we wouldn't be here today. I'm not the president of the feral cat colony. I'm not the president of Garf. When this was all going on, this is the people who had to take charge of it. They knew residents were coming in here complaining. They knew residents, and all they were told was, you're full of it, it's not cat feces. Cats don't do that, cats don't do that. Holy Jesus. There's a lot of smart people that have colonies. And all that, and this is what you come up with? It's not cat feces? But my neighbor has 15 cats. Where are they pooping? Just in that person's backyard? Somehow, to the house to the left, right, front, and back. They must be going somewhere because I got it all over. Like, come on. We're not naive. You're not naive. And don't pretend we're naive. For all the good the previous council does, for all the good that we're looking to do here, this. You got COVID-19. We have a big food insecurities in the city of Garfield. Am I correct, Mr. Maslach?
It's true.
Okay? And this is what we're spending time on. Certain residents who cannot handle their own. And sometimes the city needs to step in and handle it for them. And that's what we're going to do. The county's going to come in. They're going to give us some ideas. We're going to sit there, and we're going to help them out. And we're going to do this in a respectful, humane way. It is the winter, but they've got 6 months. They could figure it out. We could figure this out. But we had these meetings. It's not like we didn't have these meetings. We had these meetings. And when we talk about the quality of life with the garages, we had those meetings right here in the chambers with the garage owners. And it's the same concept. You know, maybe out of all the garage owners in the repair shops, one or two finally decided to follow suit, and the rest of them, you know, okay, I'll follow suit for a month, and then after the month goes by, I'm back to my old habits again. You know, we're trying to move the city of Garfield forward. For good, bad, or indifferent, you can agree or disagree. That is fine. But at the end of the day, we were voted up here to move the city forward. And this is what we're going to do. One of our big issues is the quality of life. The residents of Garfield, your neighbors, on your block, around your block, deserve quality of life. They deserve to walk down a block that is clean, safe. All right? And that's what we're doing. Unfortunately, I know some people don't agree with it, but that's what it's going to be. So, you know, that's, let me see if I got all these questions. Where they're going to get their food, the numbers of people who complain, numerous. Okay, you got the 6 months. All right. I wrote some other things down here, but I kind of lost them. We will be talking, Drew, we have our meeting, we have an emergency meeting for next Tuesday, am I correct?
Correct. A special meeting next Tuesday at 6 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. All right, so for anybody on, we have that special meeting, and then the following meeting will be on our Bergen County will come down, and we're going to be talking about the feral cat community and everything like that. That'll be our work session. Everybody's invited to that. I would like to say the Garfield Events Committee is working hard to try to get a carnival. As long as the CDC and New Jersey State guidelines are lifted a little more, we could probably get a carnival in April. We're talking to our city manager and the police, and we're going to see if we could do something. It's time to open the city of Garfield back up slowly. You know, the numbers are going down, but it's not about the numbers; it's about the percentage, and that's the good thing. Is that the percentages are going down. It looks like the school district is going to finally open up on March 8th, doing a hybrid, you know, sitting at these other meetings with other mayors. You know, it seems like hybrid is going to be the way to go for a little while, maybe into September or October. Well, we're hoping that's not the case. We're hoping that the numbers go down real so we can open up the school full-time with everybody going back in September. But I do understand that. You got to take it slow. All right, because if you don't, the new strain of the COVID may come around and it doesn't put us right back again. So I do understand why they want to take it slow. You know, but things are opening up. Movie theaters are opening up. Sporting events are opening up, and you know it's time that we start moving forward. But you still gotta wash your hands, wear your masks. You know, social distance. Know who you're hanging out with. Know where you're going. These are the things. I think that's just going to be a rule of thumb for the rest of our lives for a while. So, you know, just take care of yourself. You know, we all have family and friends and or know someone who's passed away with COVID or has gotten COVID. And you know, it's not a way to go. You know, someone's sick in the hospital, you can't visit them. These are the sad things that, you know, and I'm going over my time, but that's okay. These are the sad things in life that happens. You know, people go to the hospital and you can't even visit your family. Only one person could go in there. You know, someone's passing away and they're passing away lonely. These are the things that, you know, you can't even have a proper burial or wake for someone. And it's just sad. I've seen it way too much in the last couple of weeks in the city of Garfield. And, you know, it's unfortunate. That's why, you know, these vaccines can't come out fast enough and then we can't give them out fast enough. And I hope that, you know, the government gets, I think New Jersey only gets 22,000 a week. I think that was the number I heard. 22,000 for the state of New Jersey, and then they distribute among the counties. Like one county only gets 700, and they have about 700,000 in their county. So, you know, it's unbelievable. But the good news is that we do have a vaccine, and another one's coming out. I think Johnson & Johnson's coming out. March 1st, Friday. March 1st, Johnson & Johnson's coming out. So, you know, there's 3 drug manufacturers who are coming out with the vaccines. And, you know, it's important that, you know, you just got to keep trying. Don't give up. Don't give up. Keep trying. Try other counties. Try other states. You know, I know someone went to Connecticut for their shop. I was trying CVS's and I got to 40 miles. I got to all the way to Queens to Sandy Hook, and I couldn't get in. So, you know, and I stopped trying. I should take my own advice and keep trying. But, you know, you get tired and you get frustrated. With that said, I don't want to go on. I could go on all day. With that said, I'd like to adjourn the meeting. Motion to adjourn.
Who's motioning, who's seconding? I guess Mace-Lag is
Yeah.
motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Yep.
Okay, seconded by Councilmember Joseph Delaney. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That's it, bang it up. Thanks, John.
Good night, everyone.
Night, everybody. Thank you.
Everybody.